all this. And then what if at that point my husband comes and says like, you've been home all day, you didn't even clean up. What are you talking about? You know, right? What would not happen? What would happen at that point? Do you think I'm gonna be like, my vital signs are coming down, I'm being so calm? No, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be ready to punch him. Like, you know, it's just gonna be like, something is gonna go flying out of my hand, and like, you know what? You and your kids are jumping, and I'm not staying here. I'm going upstairs. You better clean this up. That would have been a completely disastrous. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So trigger is an important word, and I know we've been throwing out a lot of words here. Okay. Trigger, trigger, trigger. So what is trigger? Like trigger is like, I think of it as like on the gun. Like once you pull the trigger, it's gone, it's done. You know, you can't like take it back. So that's a trigger. That's called in this realm of parenting, flipping the lid. Even my kids say that, like, you know, mom, you're flipping your lid. You know, so because once that prefrontal cortex, like the active, the executive, the powerful brain that can make all things, you know, make sense of everything, logical. Connection and belonging. How can we foster this with our children in our homes? Connection, validation, 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 right? We went over that. What is validation? It's just somebody acknowledging you that, yes, what I see and hear you, just acknowledging your presence without judgment, right? Without judgment, instead of, without any, you know, questioning of that or on it problem solving for them or something like that. You can do that. Like, you know, like let's say your child is upset because they got a bad grade. Like, well, I see you're sad that you got a bad grade. Well, if you had just studied a little harder, how many times did I tell you to, you know, that is not validation. Validation is like, wow, man, that's a really bad grade. That's a bad grade for you. And this actually happened. My daughter came home crying with a bad grade, and she was so embarrassed. And I kind of like, you feel so embarrassed right now because this is not a grade that you ever expect, you know. And she goes, yeah, I just. I'm like, okay, let's see what happened. Do you have the test? Can we go over it? What would be helpful right now? Well, my teacher didn't even give me the test back, so I don't even know. You know, it's like, okay, how about, would it be helpful if I tell the teacher that we need to look over the test? Okay, yeah, let's email the teacher right now. She's already feeling calm, right? And then when we go over the test, she's like, what happened here? Looks like you missed quite a few of these same types of questions. I didn't review that. Okay, what can we do next time? What can we do next time? Well, can you review it with me next time? Oh yeah, I would love to do that. You know, so if I had just started with that shame piece, where it's like, how many times did I, and yes, I have reminded her to study before the test, right? You know, we all do that. You know, that's our job, right? To make sure you study. But at that moment, that's not gonna be helpful. You're just gonna put her in that like scared, my mom hates me, my teacher thinks I'm dumb. You know, we all do that. That is the shame spiral. So we need to allow our children that space that yes, whatever feelings you're feeling, they're all acceptable. Allah created them for a reason. He put them in us for a reason. We need to just kind of work through them. And I'm here for you for that as a parent, right? I am here. They need to know that. And once they have that safety, then that connection is gonna keep building. And guess what? The next time you tell them, you know, choose one last thing to do, they're gonna start wrapping up. My mom's calling me, I gotta go. You know, there's gonna be zero to minimal resistance, you know. So it is possible. It is possible. Like, we have to work at it. Our children are not wanting to be our enemies. They're not. They don't want to disrespect us or to be rude. They're not manipulative. They're not like, oh, she's just crying because she needs to be picked up. A baby can never be manipulative. How can a baby be like the has no agenda? Baby has no agenda. I want to be fed. I want to be safe, and I want to be dry, and I want to sleep. Like those. That's like the baby's agenda, you know. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, we're here to advocate for the children.
And for ourselves,
for ourselves too. Yeah. Yes, subhanallah. Sorry, forgive us if we made any mistakes, and please take, you know, what's good of it and leave the rest. We have lots and lots of resources. There are so many books out there, but I know that can be overwhelming because, hello, when is the last time we get to sit down to read a book, right? There are so many online resources. One of the ones that I would highly recommend is Sister Mariam Munir. She's on Instagram. She has like a entire she has a Facebook page that she started. She just started it for herself and her friends, and now it has grown into like an international a group pretty much, where there are guides on so there's all of this information that we have is freely available on her guides. Obviously there are books, there's other websites and everything. We can certainly, what we can do for all the people that are here, we can list all those things and kind of email them out to them, okay? So that's one thing. There are other
I do have, I think I printed about 10 copies of what I was talking about, just a summary. I'm sure that I have 10 copies here. And I just wanted to say for the leading part, so once you establish your repertoire with your children, once your children see that you mean business and that you're their partner, but that you're serious, that you know how to put boundaries, and if it's a boundary that's not negotiable, it's not going to be negotiable. So once they start trusting you, right? Sounds so vain, but once you have that repertoire, you can also say, okay, let's go, we're leaving, and if it's now, it has to be now, it has to be now. They will be more willing to come with you. They will know that, okay, we have that connection, and if she says it, then she trusts it, right? She means it, and she's gonna stick with it, and this is how it works, and that's safety for them, right? That's safety for all of us when we think of our husbands, right, or friends. We need to be able to rely on people's internal states for them to be there for us, and not to put theirly then be unexpected or shame us and blame us in moments when we need their compassion the most. And this is very hard. So when kids need our compassion the most is when the lid is flipped off and they're screaming, and they are usually triggering us with that behavior. So this is really tricky work. It sounds wonderful, and it is wonderful, but this is it takes a while, and it's something that I believe that we have to take serious enough to actually dedicate one part of our life.
It starts with a lot of like self-reflection, right? Yeah. You have to know what your triggers are. You have to know, like, you know, what exactly and what it feels like for you. Like for me, you know, it's like when my child starts using extreme language. You never do this for me. You never. And I'm like, what are you talking about? All this is all like for 9 years of your life I've been doing this for you, you know? You know, and it just like starts building in your chest or wherever you're feeling it. Like, you know, my stomach just like feels tight, or my face starts feeling warm, you know, and like I start feeling so tense where I need to either like, you know, and then, you know, when they were younger, for me, it was crying. For a lot of us, crying is a trigger. When a child cries or when they whine, that's like, like nails on a chalkboard. Like my husband is just like, don't use your whining voice, and I'm like, if you say it like that, she's not gonna get it, you know. You have to say it lower, a little bit relaxed, use your mouth. But so once we identify our own triggers, how we feel, then we can kind of, you know, be gentle with ourselves and kind of either remove ourselves from that situation. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna just like throw them like a child and like, okay, I need to go and find my safe place. But you know, this is it's a practice, and it's a working how to kind of work with yourself and say like, okay, what's gonna work with me? Allowing my child to feel safe with me. You know, yes, you're feeling triggered, and you need a moment to yourself. It's okay to say like, look, I know there's a lot going on here, you know, and I'm about to flip my lid. That's what I usually say. I'm about to flip my lid, so I need to kind of just step away and we can reconvene. Or like when my daughter just runs off and just slams the door, and that's a big trigger for me, because guess what? I slam doors. She probably learned it from me. And guess where I learned it from? My mother, because she used to slam her doors. And it was just a way, whenever my mom slammed the door, I knew exactly how angry she was, right? I knew, and that it's like the wrath is gonna come upon us. And so it was just like, and I have carried that on with me, right? And now my daughter is doing it, so I have to, but now with this, alhamdulillah, with this practice, what I have learned is that in that very moment where she has slammed the door and she's on the other side, what she needs most is me. She wants that connection, and she's scared that she's losing this connection. And guess what? The first thing she says, like, you think I'm so bad, mommy, right? You know, do you want me to go away? I'm like, no, I never want you to go away. You belong in this family. They have to be reminded that they belong with you. They belong to that family, right? It's because that's what I wanted to hear when my mom was angry with me. Like, do you hate me? Like, am I that bad? Like, do you know, and that's what I wanted to hear, but I never heard that from her, right? And it was very hard for our parents because they just didn't have it. They didn't have that language. We're learning this language, like we're reading it in the books. I'm printing it out. I'm learning it as a script. Like, what should I say to my daughter, right? And I'm standing at that door and I'm like, okay, whenever you're ready, I'm here. And then I'll hear the door unlock, and then we'll walk in and we'll sit on her bed, and I'll sit close, and then she'll lean in, and that is connection. That slow lean in. And then it's inevitable that she would always apologize. And I've never asked for an apology, but she would say like, I'm sorry, mom, like that was just like so whatever, right? You know, I didn't like this. Okay. And now we're opening up a communication. Now I'm learning what she didn't like, what didn't work for her, and then I can change my ways. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was like, you know, whatever it is, you know, there's so many examples we can give, so many examples, but it's just, we have to start with that curiosity. Our children are not out there just to make our lives difficult. They're whatever behavior or misbehavior, it's just that tip of the iceberg, and we need to get to that before we even, you know, try and like fix the behavior, you know.
And connection is the biggest influence, right? Whether it's with a friend, especially with your children, the stronger our connection, the more we'll be able to influence them. And we need to be able to influence them. No matter whether they go to school or whatever is going on, we need to be the ones that are going to be at the forefront. And that is, I mean, in psychology, that is preventative for everything, relationships, everything. Look at our religion, how it's teaching us to be connected, right? So this is, yes.
I think we can just keep talking and talking and talking. We need to open up the floor.
I'm gonna put in.
Yeah, okay, yeah, please do, because it's over there.
Not everyone can stay this long.
I'm sorry.
So, inshallah, we'll start the Q&A in a little bit if anyone has any questions and would like to see their response on that. But before we do, inshallah, when you do leave, if you want to make a plate to bring home, you can. There's some foil back there. And I never like to do any kind of event without having a little bit of fun in there. So sorry, just for the ladies that are around this table, there are 3 winners who will receive one of the book recommendations. So if you want to check under your chair, you can see if you're one of the book winners. Wow. The earlier you come, the better. I don't remember where I placed them either.
Now everyone's gonna be like,
where exactly? You can go. In the front.
Yeah, inshallah, I will.
Other. Yes.